My name is Deanna Zandt. I'm the author of a new book that's called Share This, How You Will Change the World with Social Networking. And I'm here obviously to spread the good word about my book, but also to connect with folks, to learn what's happening in the blogger Netroots end of the world right now, and to have a good time.
Well, let me ask you about the book here first, because what made you write it? Because writing a book is always a large,
Yes.
long process that's somewhat painful.
Well, I did have a shorter process than most because I was writing about technology. From start to pub was about a year, and so that's kind of fast in the book world. It's eons in my world, the digital world, but it was fast for a book. And what happened was that I saw a lot of people kind of talking about, marketing tactics for social networking, or talking about, how you could raise money for a cause with social networking. But what I wanted to offer people was that there's kind of a larger picture out there, a larger picture of cultural analysis. And we're really experiencing this giant fundamental shift in our cultural consciousness based on what's happening in social networking, with people sharing their stories and their values and their experiences in a very public way with one another. So that's what I decided to take on. And then also offer some tips and tricks and guides and things like that kind of mixed in throughout, so it appeals to multiple levels of interaction with social networking.
What was the most interesting thing that you found while writing the book?
Well, and it ends up being what I'm currently completely fascinated with is actually the science of empathy. And when we're sharing our stories with one another, when we're participating in each other's lives, both in a very active and in a very passive way of just knowing the little tidbits of what's happening with one another, we create empathy. And we see things like, there was just a study that came out that showed that when people are participating on social networks, the chemicals that are released in their brains are the same chemicals as when we're cuddling. The trust and affection chemicals are released in our brains when we're doing this stuff. And I think that kind of stuff, showing that we're hardwired for empathy as humans. We are built to do this, and we're not just these kind of Darwinian machines that, it's dog-eat-dog world out there or something. We actually are wired to be empathetic to one another.
The question we're asking everybody today is, what's next? What's next for you, or what's next in general?
World.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to be continuing to tour in September and October. I have a brief stop in Connecticut in August, and then in September and October, I go to Boston, North Carolina, Chicago, Berlin, which I'm so excited about because I get to visit my family, and then a few more other places that I can't remember now. Oh, Austin and Los Angeles, and I think that's everything. So I'm really looking forward to touring. And then I also see in the larger picture in the world just the huge rise in this kind of, the importance of individual participation in social networking for the common good, for the bringing about of tremendous social change. I think our values being so much more part of the public discourse and the public conversations that we're having about the things that we care about politics and culture and art and all of those things, we're really starting to already rapidly see the huge effect that that's having, and I'm looking forward to much, much more of that.
You said Berlin. Are you from Berlin? Are you?
My family's German, and I lived there as an exchange student, and then I went back to live there in 2008. And so I worked for a German company for 4 years, Deutsche Telekom, and they're actually bringing me to an internal conference that they have where they bring product managers from all over the world to talk about innovation. And they really like the stuff that I talk about in the book about the importance of diversity and how diversity breeds innovation versus staleness. And so I'm going to be speaking to a worldwide product manager audience in the telecommunications industry to talk about, which I think is completely great that they want to bring this into their work environment. So, yay.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Ja, ich spreche Deutsch.
So you'll be doing this auf Deutsch?
Well, I asked them about that because how I learned German was completely conversational. Through immersion therapy, basically. I went not knowing a word when I had just turned 17 years old, and I came back fluent, but I came back conversationally fluent. So when I used to work for Deutsche Telekom, if I had to send emails in German, I would ask Germans that I worked with to look at my business German and like fix things, because I would say some, really egregiously awful things. They're like, no, you can't say that. You can't say that. So I asked them when they asked me to do this, when Deutsche Telekom called me, and I said, oh, I'd love to, but is it in German? Because, I might offend some people with my German conversational style. And they were like, no, the whole thing's in English because it's a worldwide thing. And so I was like, oh, thank God, I'm sure my host mom in Germany will be disappointed to know that it's in English, but, she was very strict with me, and we're still very close and still laugh about, she still corrects me. I'm 35 now. It's been almost 20 years, but she still corrects me.
And it's so funny is the Germans all speak a very proper British English, so with the British accent.
Yes, and when I was living there, I would get into arguments with the English teacher for my class, and I basically ended up just not sitting in on the class anymore because she would say that, oh, this is just the British way of saying it, and I was like, well, that's dumb. It was terrible. I was just this mean 17-year-old.
Now, people want the book. How can they find it?
So the URL for the book is sharethischange.com. Mm-hmm. They can visit my website, which is deannazandt.com. They can find me on Twitter, which is I'm Random Deanna on Twitter. And the book can be bought on independent bookstores everywhere through indiebound.org. It's on Barnes & Noble, in Barnes & Noble stores, and it's very popular on Amazon.com. So that actually, as much as we like to support independent stores, it also helps the author to purchase through Amazon, unfortunately. So. And
is it available as a Kindle book?
It is. It's a Kindle and an iPad book as well.
Cool. So
yes.
people can point the
Absolutely.
browsers right to it and buy it.
Yes.
Show us the book one more time here.
I fell on the floor.
I know it fell on the floor, but want to see the book one more time.
There it is. And it's pretty, and it's a mandala. And the best part is that those guys right there are high-fiving. How awesome is it to have people high-fiving on the cover of your book? I was very excited about that. Ooh.
Well, Deanna, thank you so much for dropping by our booth today.
Thank you.